A middle-aged woman, Maria, wearing a red dress, with a good smile and long black hair, stands under the glow of a dimly lit street lamp, clutching an old suitcase. Her eyes are filled with sadness as she looks back at her small, worn-down home. In the doorway, her 8-year-old son, Daniel, with messy black hair and innocent eyes, wearing blue shirt and brown short, stands barefoot, struggling to hold back tears. The night sky is deep blue, with a few stars faintly visible. Maria kneels in front of young Daniel, holding his face gently with her calloused hands. Her eyes are teary but full of love. Daniel looks up at her, confused and scared. The dim glow of the street lamp casts a golden hue on their faces. The bus in the background waits with its headlights on, illuminating the foggy night. Inside the airplane, Maria sits by the window, looking out at the endless sky. Her fingers grip a small crumpled photo of Daniel. A single tear rolls down her cheek as she rests her head against the cold window. The clouds outside are illuminated by the sunrise, casting a golden glow into the cabin. Maria, now in a foreign land, is scrubbing the marble floors of a luxurious mansion. She is on her knees, wearing a white maid's uniform, her red dress peeking from underneath. Sweat drips from her forehead as she scrubs tirelessly. Behind her, a wealthy family sits at a dining table, laughing and enjoying a meal. The contrast between her struggle and their comfort is evident. Maria sits on a small wooden bed in a dimly lit dormitory for maids, carefully placing money inside an envelope. She writes Daniel's name on it with love, her fingers trembling. Her small radio plays a nostalgic song. Outside the window, city lights flicker in the distance, a reminder of how far she is from home. Teenage Daniel, now in his late teens, is in a dimly lit alley with a group of rowdy friends. His once innocent eyes now filled with rebellion. He grins as he throws money in the air, while his so-called friends cheer. Maria, now looking frail, sits alone on her bed, holding her chest in pain. The room is dim, with only a small lamp casting a soft glow. Her hands tremble as she wipes sweat from her forehead. A small calendar on the wall shows the passing years, marking her long sacrifice. Maria, now visibly weak but determined, stands at the airport, clutching her worn-out suitcase. Her red dress looks faded, and her once bright eyes are full of longing. Travelers rushing by while she stands still, lost in thought. Maria steps out of a taxi in front of her old house. The place is unchanged, but something feels different. Her frail hands reach for the rusty gate as she takes a deep breath. Maria's heart sinks as she sees Daniel, now a young man, sitting on the sofa, a bit tipsy, surrounded by empty bottles and a messy room. He looks up at her with guilt in his eyes. Maria collapses onto the bed, clutching her chest as tears stream down her face. The room is dimly lit, shadows creeping onto the walls as she trembles with heartbreak. Daniel stands frozen, guilt overwhelming him. Daniel kneels beside his mother in bed, crying uncontrollably. His trembling hands hold onto Maria's frail fingers. The light from a small candle flicker, casting a soft glow on his tear-streaked face. Maria's weak face, barely able to speak, gently touches Daniel's face and whispers, "I forgive you, my son. I love you." Her voice is weak, but her eyes shine with unconditional love. Daniel sobs, realizing the depth of his mistakes. Maria's hand slowly slips from Daniel's grip as her eyes close for the last time. The candle beside them flickers and fades. Daniel clutches her hand, his tears falling onto her fingers. The room is silent except for his quiet sobs. The small house feels emptier than ever. Daniel sits alone on the floor, staring at a framed photo of Maria from years ago. Her warm smile in the picture contrasts with the sorrow in his heart. The dim room is filled with shadows, and a soft breeze moves the thin curtains. The weight of regret is visible in Daniel's tear-streaked face as he grips the photo tightly. Daniel walks through the dark streets, his hoodie pulled over his head. His hands are in his pockets, and his face is lost in deep thought. The neon lights of the city cast a cold, distant glow, reflecting off the puddles on the street. The noise of distant laughter and traffic feels empty to him. He realizes that everything he once enjoyed now feels meaningless. Daniel sits on his old bed, surrounded by unopened letters from Maria. The letters are yellowed with time, some edges torn from years of neglect. He picks one up with shaking hands and opens it. Maria's handwriting is neat but slightly uneven, full of love and longing. His vision blurs with tears as he reads her words, each one a reminder of the sacrifices she made for him. Under the soft golden light of sunrise, Daniel stands in front of Maria's grave, holding a bouquet of red roses. His face is filled with grief and remorse. The cemetery is quiet, with a gentle breeze moving through the trees. He kneels down, placing the flowers on the grave, his fingers tracing her name on the stone. The sky above is a mixture of blue and orange, symbolizing a new day, yet his heart is heavy with regret. Daniel walks towards a community center, determination in his eyes. He now wears neat clothing, his posture no longer slouched. In his hands, he holds a book, his first step toward self-improvement. Children run past him, laughing, reminding him of his own childhood. The building ahead is bathed in warm sunlight, symbolizing hope. He takes a deep breath before stepping inside, ready to change. A vision of Maria appears in the golden sky, her warm smile watching over Daniel as he walks forward. She is flowing gently in the wind. Her expression is one of peace and forgiveness. The clouds behind her glow softly, as if embracing her spirit. Daniel stops for a moment, looking up with teary eyes, knowing that her love will always guide him.